Well, after what feels like an eternity, and it actually being about 2 weeks, I'm back down, and although I just got the new clutch and it's installed, which looks just beautiful, one issue I'm finding as I was replacing the pivot pin, apparently the standard issue stuff I have for the later Getrag transmissions is completely different. So back to the drawing board, I get to order Getrag 260 pivot pin. This one is borked, so there's absolutely no way I'm reusing that. Spring's fine. I did end up getting another brand new clutch kit, so I have everything ready. I even have a clutch fork I pulled out of that 5 Series 260, and then I ultrasonically cleaned it to make it look nice for the application, but just, man, it's 2 steps back. I'm going to take my wire wheel and clean up the snout on that bad boy real quick too. But this has just been an absolute nightmare. I just want the transmission in the car. But these are all things preventing me from having that. I also did get a Sachs slave cylinder. I threw one on the car, but it was used, and I found this for $13 from the same place I bought the clutch, so why not? Yeah, I'm going to head upstairs, order a pivot pin. I can't believe this. And we'll go from there next time, I guess. Well, the $1 pivot pin is not at all available locally, but not a problem. If you hoard as many Getrag 260s as I do, I found a pretty nice one on a trans in my garage. So next up, gonna lube some stuff up, and we'll throw on the fork, release bearing, and the metal clip as well, which are all sitting right over there. I did transfer over the shifter cup and linkage that I had on my ZF and this car over to this. That I know is not pretty, but I need to be able to line up the starter, and I still don't have the correct 220 outlet down here for my TIG. So whatever, non-structural, living with it. It's the one ugly part of the car. Transmission, I do need to check to see if it has oil in it. I don't think it has much, so it's gonna need to top up. Grease up the splines, and then we'll shove it in the car. Everything looks as it did last time we were down here. Let me turn on my super cool customized light. The splines have a little bit of grease on them. So does the pilot bearing. Everything's looking really good. This Perfection clutch pressure plate is a triple band. So if you order one of these off of Rock Auto for an 86 325E, you are getting the beefier, better style pressure plate. So this thing you could easily turbo, 10, 12 pounds of boost, no problem. I'm not going to be doing that, but you could. Actual sound deadening is pretty ugly. Sorry, videography. But I'm going to keep it because it's there. I don't know. I don't mind mechanical noise, but it's original and it's not in the worst shape I've ever seen. So may as well try to keep it nice. Beauty. Ready to slap it in there finally after like 2 months, I swear. There's one thing I normally harp on, and I forgot to this time. Always check to make sure that your collets are either in the block or the transmission, not both. Not a problem if you're just doing a clutch job, but if you're changing something and the transmission's not from the engine, you might end up with both. Same thing with the dowels on the starter. In this case, I'm gonna have to pull both these out. Well, I've got the 4 main bolts in now. I think I'm gonna go back topside and do the starter. I may have to come bottom side again. It sucks on these, like I said, without the threaded body starters, but gotta do it. I just think I'll have a little bit better access to it from up top before the engine harness and all the plumbing goes on. Well, the starter is in. I have the fill plug loosened on the transmission now so we can get it filled with oil. I have the shifter carrier for an e30 right there. I'm hoping that this is the correct selector, but I have 2 that are definitely guaranteed. E30 325 down there just in case. And I still have to pull pull this down a ways here, sorry, and plug in the reverse lights. Not sure why that's all the way up there, but the switch is on the side of the trans up here. After that, the shifter's in, I can throw in the drive shaft and the heat shield. And then after that, I can work on installing the exhaust, which should be very easy because it's all stock. And I believe I have all new hardware and gaskets for everything. So should be pretty simple. But yeah, I'm just happy to be finally making some progress. Starting to look a lot more complete. Other than the exhaust, we are done. Bottom side, everything looks good. Second new, but actually this time new slave cylinders in. I've got the motor mounts tightened down. Now I'm gonna bring the car back down and we'll start looking at the harness and fill it up with oil, crank it over, get oil pressure, and then eventually we'll get it started. That probably won't be a today thing, but like I said, definitely making progress. So I was getting ready to drape this harness over. This is out of a 1990 325iX. Looks like this was a runner. However, a couple things. The starter wiring, somebody clearly modified this for the push-on style old starter. So I'm gonna have to get some ring terminals back on there. We have the starter trigger and the unloader. I'm gonna replace a lot of this just flaky jacketing stuff. I'm gonna get some electrical contact cleaner because a lot of the insides on these connectors are pretty blue. Yeah, just redoing things like the insulation on the AFM connector. I need a new eyelet ring terminal on the alternator exciter. I think this is oil pressure. Not too surprising that that's clipped, given how difficult that is to run. The grounds are pretty blue. I still need to get a tack wire because this is an 87, so I'll have to remind myself where that black wire is. But the C101 looks pretty good. Just again, electrical cleaner. O2 sensor thing looks okay, and even the injector harness plug looks okay. So it's no real surprise to me that this was a runner, but I've just got to grab a few things, including looks like the power wire that runs over top, because I believe, well, actually that might be power. Either way, I don't think that's for the starter. I know this is the main ground here that goes over on the passenger side strut tower. Even one of the coil connectors is broken off. So I'm going to grab probably all of my M20 harnesses and bring them down here and just go through everything on all of them. That way at least I know what's viable and what isn't, and what's worth, potentially repairing. But I'm not draping this on today. I also realized that I am missing the coolant hard pipe crossover that goes on the front of the engine right below the distributor. I definitely had to sell that to a chump car team from the 5 Series. So I have to go look for another one. Hopefully I have one. Otherwise I'll have to buy it. All the brake booster stuff looks okay, so I'm not too worried about that. I did rebleed the clutch. That's good. It is, like I said, sitting on all the mounts. It's official right now. It is just a harness away from being able to run. I did put oil in it. Obviously no coolant yet. Fuel lines are hooked up. I don't know if they're hooked up the right way yet. I think they are. I tried to make sure the regulator was on the same pipe with the S50 when I took it off. But yeah, I guess I could grab a set of jumper cables and hot wire the starter and back out the oil pressure sensor just a little bit, spin it over, make sure I got oil pressure before we actually start trying to make it fire, but that's not a today project. The only bottom side thing is the exhaust, and that'll come after it runs. I do still have to get a bracket also for the power steering reservoir. I have the reservoir, pipes are coming up brand new, but I must have gotten rid of the actual mount, which sucks. I'm sure that's going to be an easy one to find. I do have a factory airbox sitting over there, so that'll be easy enough. I am going to a late style cooling system. Like I said, with the hard pipe, I have a Z3M Roadster radiator that was in here before. That'll be continuing on. This electric fan, I'll have to get a new mount kit, but that'll be continuing on. And yeah, everything else pretty much as you see it now. So, bonus snippet, I was actually able to find a nice condition BMW monitor, which is a really rare 1999 and 2000 production e46 navigation system. This is mainly sold in 328 CIs in very high specification cars, but it's in my 01 e46 M3 press car. So I've got a bad tape deck with no door and a bleeding LCD. So I'm going to go ahead and replace it and see how we do. Just like the e39 M5 nav radio, it's held in with some really small Torx drivers. So I guess I won't be handling this today. I didn't bring that tool with me, but... Oh, wait. No, I don't think that is necessary for removal. Interesting. I might just have to pull harder. Correct. That's all it was. Just pull the center vents out, and this comes right out. One cool thing here, it actually shows M3 US 2-door, and this was manufactured March 01. That's after the car was. And this unit must have come from Europe at some point, but it's a little earlier. Oh wait, January 18th. So, yeah, okay. But this was a 330D. That was a really, really early 330D. Wow. That's super cool. It also says German on it. So, we'll see if all the graphics and shit are... I kind of hope not. Although it'd be kind of cool. We'll see. But it is at least a radio logger. Cool. So the date came up. Oh, come on. Nope, English. I'm guessing the language is tied to the actual computer. Nice. Yep, everything is good. I wish I had a tape to test the deck with. I guess I could grab the tape adapter out of the 850. But it works. It looks fabulous. So, I found I have an Eiffel 65 cassette. I really hope this doesn't eat it. Yes. Oh, it's amazing. Hopefully I don't get a takedown for that short amount of music. Awesome. 100% working. I actually bought this from a BMW recycler place out in California. I can't remember the name, but I made them an offer. They had a super high asking price. I'm like, just because it's rare doesn't mean it's valuable. You'd have to find an idiot like me to buy it. And then they accepted my offer. So that probably cost me $130 or something, but well worth it in my opinion to get one that's fully working. And again, to have a tape player, that's huge. So anyway, that was a little bonus. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good intro into 2021. I'll see you later. I haven't had a whole lot to do since starting on that e30 project, so may as well start up a couple of cars. It's about 10 degrees Fahrenheit in the garage here, and I don't think anything will have any trouble starting, but, you know, Blubsky hasn't been this cold in years. It's always been in a heated garage, so why not take a stab at it? Oh, it's so cold. That's kind of weird. easy. Although I did have to touch the fob to the start button, which is silly. Now for the car that's most likely to give us some drama. Oh, it's just something really unpleasant about cold vinyl upholstery. Oh no. Nice. This car is too reliable. Oh. Okay. That's hilarious how easy that was. All right then.